Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do DIY Dollar Tree 4 non-traditional topiaries. This is a Thursday Throwback Comeback. For one of them we're going to use some mesh. I chose Americana colors, red, white, and blue, and the red, white, and blue. For one we're going to use make a Pom Pom Topiary, and we're going to use these Christmas colored pom-poms. For one, we're going to make a ribbon topiary, and I chose all autumn ribbons just to change things up a little bit. And for one of them, we're going to make a pom-pom ribbon. I don't know pom-pom, but we're going to do rainbow. And I'm also going to use this felt, rainbow pack felt from the Dollar Tree. And now we're going to do traditional and untraditional stems. We're going to use an actual tree branch for one of them. For one of them, we're going to use a pencil. Dollar Tree has these really cute holographic pencils. We're going to use the silver one. And then traditional, unfortunately, we have to use a dowel, but it's going to be just one. And then we're also going to use the stems from some florals. We're going to use one styrofoam ball, one baseball. Sarah Jane from Chic on the Cheap likes to use those big toy balls, which would be really great for the pom-pom topiary. Then we're going to use some untraditional boxes. No flower pots here. We're going to use a round Christmas box, a square box, a bucket, as well as a tin can. Yes, that's a Campbell soup can. So for the first one, we're going to make a mesh topiary, and this one is not on anything. There's two things that I didn't mention that we're going to use, three technically, because we're going to use some hot glue, which I didn't mention. Obviously, you need your scissor. We're going to use one zip tie. I don't have a photograph of a zip tie, so I'm telling you now. And we're going to use one piece of jute, like about 4 or 5 inches. But you don't need to use the zip tie. It's just better with the zip tie, and I'll tell you why when we get there. But what I'm doing is I'm basically making the bundles, the curly bundles. I've cut 12 pieces of the red, white, and blue, 6 pieces of red, 6 pieces of white, and 6 pieces of blue. Each bundle will have one of each of the solid colors and 2 stripes on each end. What I am doing is showing you slowly how I'm rolling it. I started with a red, white, and blue one, pinched it between my fingers, then a red one, then a white one, then a blue one. Continue to add the pinching. Now I did mess up that first one that I'm showing you, believe it or not, because I actually wanted to turn the first one with the blue up, and then the second, and then the end one where it's next to the blue, it'll be red up. But that's not a huge difference. When it's all squished together, you can't really tell. But then I put a rubber band around them. Another thing I didn't tell you needed, it's just to temporarily hold. My fingers with the arthritis will not hold all 6 bundles. Some people can actually hold all 6 bundles. Some people have bow holders that can hold the 6 bundles for you. But I decided to just throw some rubber bands around there, and they're temporary. So you don't have to worry about, you can cut them off, but you don't have to worry about, you can use them over and over again anyway. So then we're going to continue to make the other 5 bundles. So it'll be 6 bundles total. And this ends up being about a nice, I guess a 12-inch round. Maybe it's just 6 inches. I don't know. Diameter. It's a cute little topiary that it's just a cute shape. I like the box that I picked. It was actually a gift box that I got from Sharon. I know they sell that size at the Dollar Tree, but I had that left over from when we made the lantern. That bottom was empty, and I was like, that would be really cute. We could just cover that size, would be great. So now, once you have all of the bundles up, I've rolled the rubber bands up towards one side, laid them all out flat, and now I'm going to pinch them all together, and I'm going to throw the zip tie right underneath all of those rubber bands. Try not to catch any rubber bands. So now it's kind of tough, but once you start, I like to take my needle nose and just pull on the strap. I use my fingers to push on the clip, and then you see, poof, topiary. Can you believe it? Me neither. Now I will tell you that some of my blue mesh was a little jacked up. I tried to use the rest of a roll, so it's a little hairy, but I just trimmed it and cleaned it up. I found the pencil that I wanted to use. This is like a silver Mylar, and what we're just going to do is we're just going to glue it in place. We're just going to glue it right where that zip tie was, and just hold it really well. This is Gorilla hot glue. Works really, really well. What I did to help was, as you see there, I was pushing the mesh onto the pencil a little bit to kind of help it hold it in place. Okay, now once I have that set off to the side, you could see I stuffed a piece of foam down into the bucket, into the box. But you can use anything that you want. You can use rocks, sand, you can just glue it straight directly in there. You can use foam. There's so many things we've done for different topiaries. Now what I've done is I've taken this red, white, and blue ribbon, which I just realized I didn't tell you we were going to use in the beginning. I'm sorry about that. But I was gifted this, and I just wanted to go ahead and wrap the box. It has red dots on it, but when it was next to the red, white, and blue, they looked so pink. So I was like, yeah, let's cover it. So I just took this, I lined up the stripes, and I covered it with this box with this ribbon, and then I went ahead and trimmed the bottom edge down. Okay, and now find the spot in the middle, stick your topiary in there. Now you could cover this with moss if you want to, but I was trying to stay non-traditional, so I basically took a red, white, and blue scarf from the Dollar Tree. It comes in a 2-pack, and I just put that around the base. You could use Spanish moss if you want to, but again, I was just trying to keep it untraditional. So I didn't mention that in the beginning, but you could use whatever, any of those scarves, any fabric, any cotton balls, whatever. Would be really cute is that, like, the glitter scatter that we used, that would look really cute, but I used that all for the thing. All right, so these are the 3-pack of balls. I like to use these for forms because they're cheaper. They're about the same size as the foam balls, but the styrofoam balls that you can get $1 each, but these ones you can get 3 for $1. And if you're going to glue onto a topiary, then this is definitely a good way to go. What I did was there's a natural hole. I don't know if you saw in the beginning real quick, but there's a natural hole formed by the factory. I just made that hole a little bit bigger and glued the stem in there. I actually didn't glue the stem in. I stuck the stem in there. And then just glue the pom-poms. The original one of these that I saw was sort of multicolored pom-pom, so it was like for a birthday party. And I was like, well, we're already doing a multicolored one, so let's do something different. I had these Christmas pom-poms left over from all collecting them over all the Christmases, and I was like, let's use these. So that's why we're picking this one for Christmas. I also have this round box that I bought at the Dollar Tree that kind of feels like a Christmas box. I don't think it was necessarily a Christmas box. I feel like it was in the regular gift section, and it isn't quite red and green. It's sort of like a little tealy and a little pinky, but I think it works really well with the tree. It's a little too big for the vision that I had, but it works really well with the tree. So what I did was I took 4 white pom-poms, just glued them around the base to hold that stem in, and then glued them everywhere, basically. That's what I did. I shoved some styrofoam in the bottom of this box here, and tied a little bow on there. This is just an option. I actually, on the Americana one, I took the scrap of the ribbon that we had left over to show you that if you want to put a bow, any embellishments you want to do, of course. You guys, I'm always supportive, right? So we're just going to glue some styrofoam down in there, and then we're going to go ahead and shove this, glue this topiary into the styrofoam. So what I decided to do for the filler for this one was I took the red piece of tissue paper that we're going to use in a few minutes, and I cut it into 16s, I think, basically little squares. Then what I did is I took 3 little squares. I laid them flat over the styrofoam, and then I took some other little squares. I pinched the middle of the square together, stuck a popsicle stick down there just so I wouldn't have to touch the hot glue, and glued them around to almost look like it was a gift box with tissue paper sticking out. Okay? And I think this one's adorable. This is the one that I was saying, if you had the bigger bowl like Sarah Jane uses, it would definitely fit the size of this box a little bit more appropriate. So if you are going to make this, I would suggest getting that. And here's how that one looks. Like I said, see, it's kind of pink, but it looks really good together, so I just left it. Okay? And I like it with all the different sizes, too. Just my personal preference. So for this next one, we're going to go ahead and do the autumn ribbon topiary. Now, this ribbon topiary is so fun. I've seen it all over Pinterest. It's a little different than I used to make ribbon topiaries back in the day, but those were easy. Those were a lot like we made Christmas ornaments, where we just take squares of ribbon and poke them in to the styrofoam bowl with some glue. But these are fun. So what you do is you take as much ribbon as you want to, depending on the size of ball you have. You cut them into about 4 to 5 inch lengths. And then we're going to go ahead and glue the 2-inch wide ribbons into circles. Yeah, basically we're just going to take the end and glue it to the other end. And then I've cut some of the decorative trim ribbon. I've cut 6 of each of those as well. But we're going to cut those in half again. And I've cut those into about the same 5 or 6 inches long. We're gonna cut those in half in a little bit. So we're basically just going to glue these together to make all these little rings. Okay? Do I have any tricks? The wire edge ribbon is not very difficult. For the sheer ribbon, I'm using the sheer ribbon with the pumpkins on them from the Dollar Tree. All this ribbon's from the Dollar Tree. I decided not to use any non-Dollar Tree ribbons. But the sheer one with the pumpkins on it, I want to go ahead and be careful because the glue will come through that just like burlap. Pretty easy. So what I did was I ended up taking out my rubber spatula that was gifted to me, and I've stuck it like in the loop, and you'll see me, and I put my scissor on the top to hold it down. And I also have some orange and brown of the raw edged burlap from Dollar Tree as well. It's from last year. They do have it this year as well, but the ones that I picked are actually from last year. Actually, I didn't see orange. I saw red, brown, beige. Or maybe it was orange. But I thought there was red, brown, beige, and another set of brown when I went to the store the other day. But this is some orange left over from last year and the year before. Okay, so we're just going to make all of these circles. Now for the burlap, I went ahead and I did make the circle first because I found it easier to glue it while it was a whole piece. But then we're going to cut them in half widthwise. We're going to basically make the burlap as like an accent. Okay, and for this I think I said I have 5 of each. I ended up making a 6th of the white because I actually thought that the camera cut off way sooner than it did. So I was showing you an up and close detail, but we'll cut that out later. Okay. Now we're going to take our stick. We basically found the straightest piece, shove it up the styrofoam ball. This is an old styrofoam ball that I'm recycling, but it is one from the Dollar Tree. It's the same exact size and everything. So what we're doing here is I'm showing you that the original tutorial is with straight pins. You cannot find straight pins at the Dollar Tree. I have found T-pins there before, and that's what that first one is that I put in. But I just want to show you how to do it if you want to use pins. It's so much easier. Basically, I add a little glue to wherever I folded it over. Okay, I pinch it, and then you could put a straight pin through there. Or actually, when I was using the straight pin, I didn't glue it. I pinched it, put a straight pin through all the layers, and then put some glue on there, and then stuck it in the styrofoam bowl. For the second one, I did it with just a straight pin, and then for the last one, I did it with just glue. And then the rest of the bowl, I'm actually doing it with just glue. So for gluing, I went ahead and I pinched where I had folded over. I put a little glue down and I pinched it. Then I stuck some hot glue on the styrofoam bowl, and with using that skewer, or sometimes I use my, when the skewer started to get full of glue, I ended up using the silicone spatula. I was pushing the skewer down through the ribbon into the styrofoam. So basically I was using the skewer to push the ribbon down into the styrofoam a little bit, just to give it a little bit more of a hold. Okay? And I tried to mix up the colors. Now for the burlap, I ended up making my pieces of burlap way too long. So after I realized that the loops were way too long, all I did was I just glued the end back over again. So I had overlapped the end, and all I did was add a little glue and then fold that piece back over again so that it would just make the circle a little smaller. And then I repeated the process of adding glue to it, sticking it on the styrofoam. Okay? We're not going to add the accent ribbons until the end. I found it much easier to do it this way, to just go ahead and add all the loops of ribbon first. Now, tutorials on Pinterest that I saw, they don't use 2-inch wide ribbon. They use mostly like the 1-inch wide, but their ribbon's not from the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree, you feel like you can only find like a 3/4 of an inch ribbon, quarter of an inch even sometimes, but or 2-inch ribbon. Like they don't give you that nice 1-inch choice as much. So that's why we're doing it this way. But you know, if you see other tutorials, you can mix up any of these different DIYs for any of the different seasons. Basically what I'm saying is you can find orange and brown pom poms, you can go ahead and make a pom pom topiary for autumn. If you could use Christmas ribbon, you can go ahead and make a ribbon topiary for Christmas, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so now we're just going to repeat this all the way around. I didn't use the mason jar lid to hold this because the ribbon kind of holds it flat. But for the pom-pom wreath, why do I keep calling them wreaths? I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. For the pom-pom topiaries, we put a mason jar lid down there to keep it from rolling over. That was just a quick tip. And for the styrofoam, this twig was so fat, I didn't need to glue this into the styrofoam. It's just staying. Okay? And then you're going to repeat, and I just make it look, you know, sporadic. Add the colors all around. Try not to put too much of the same color in one spot. And then fill all the way around. Now, I mentioned that. Oh, there's also an Easter egg one that I saw on Pinterest, but basically, sporadically they stuck like those little foam Easter eggs from like the Dollar Tree, the little ones. They sporadically stuck those in with some pretty pastel ribbons that they did for an Easter topiary ribbon, a ribbon topiary, which was really, really adorable. But basically, this is just very simple. Once you have the fabric in the loop, then you can pinch all of the, wherever it's glued, you pinch that closed, make it nice and tight, and then you can stick it in the topiary. And I go all the way around to the underside. This is where I thought the camera got cut off, so I actually was doing it while there was, like, the base was still on it. Oh, that's what went missing, the base. So I took the black bucket, stuck a bunch of styrofoam down there, glued the stem on, glued the styrofoam into the bucket so it wouldn't pop loose, and then covered it with some burlap, just some regular old beige burlap. It was a piece left over from the Dollar Tree burlap they used to sell on the sheets, okay? Now I'm taking the accent ribbon, and I decided to show you with it dog-eared, with it dovetailed, and then plain flat. So the dog ear is like a point. If you cut a dovetail in the end of a ribbon, what's left on the other end that you cut out is a dog ear. So a dog ear comes to a point like an arrow, and the dovetail comes to the like the arrow's quill at the end. Does that make sense? Anyway, I just thought that I would change it up. And what I decided to do is I took one of the brown ribbons with the orange pumpkins and one that says like the thankful with the words. And I put them so that the print sides were both facing out. Added a little glue to the topiary. Actually glued the two ribbons together at some point because I realized that I wasn't actually gluing that second ribbon in. And if it didn't get jammed into the bowl, then it was going to pop out. So I'd put a little glue between, glued the two ribbons together, put some glue down wherever I wanted it to stick, and then used the skewer to stick right between some already done up circles, ribbons. What am I saying? So they stuck out. I wish this could go slower. I wish I had unlimited time. Sorry, guys. And then you want to go ahead and fluff it because there's wire ribbon, and when you squish it, it's squished, and that's the end of it. Okay? So this one. I really think it's adorable. I'm sorry it went so fast, and I think you guys get it. Again, non-traditional. There's no leaves. There's no flowers. There's no grass. There's just a stick, but I really like this one a lot because I love autumn. I don't know. I just do. Okay, so for the final one is the easiest one, and I totally saved the easiest one for last. I know what you're thinking. Jerry, we glued pom-poms on a baseball from the Dollar Tree. What could be easier than that? Oh, no. I promise. This is easy. Have you ever made a pom-pom out of tissue paper? I know it's going to make a topiary. It's going to sound crazy. But what we're actually going to do is I wanted to jazz up the can. And originally I was going to use some scrapbooking paper that looked like clouds, but I was like, you know what? They don't sell that at the Dollar Tree. What could we do? Now this is sort of a Dollar Tree cheat because they don't have orange at the Dollar Tree. I had to buy that at Hobby Lobby, but I had it left over from the baby's birthday. So I took the Dollar Tree, had big packages of felt. I took a yellow piece, went around the whole can, and then cut strips into the other colors, including the orange. And I went ahead and I just stripped them around. I'm not worried about the fact that it doesn't match in the back because unless you're going to put it in a centerpiece, you can worry about that then. But I wasn't worried about that. So now I took one piece of each tissue paper. That's all you need. This pack gives you 4 reds and then 5 of each of the other colors. So and there's no orange in the tissue paper, but that's okay. We're going to use the pink like it's purple because it's a very purple looking pink. Believe it or not, that says pink, but that looks purple on that camera, doesn't it? So we're going to do the layers. We're going to line them all up on the edge and we're going to accordion fold them. That's it. I folded them whole length in half and then cut it in half because you want it to be only half as wide as the tissue paper is long. And now I rounded off the ends, both ends, and then matched it to the other both ends. Now we're going to layer the weaves on top of each other. So if I could show you for a second, we're actually doing like purple to red, from red to purple. So purples will be on the outsides and reds will be in the center. You can obviously flip that if you want to. But I basically made it so that it goes up and down evenly. And then I made it so that there was purple on the top and the bottom and the reds were all sandwiched together in the middle. I tied a piece of jute around the halfway. As you notice, I folded it in half to find the middle. Tied a piece of jute around there. Not tight. You don't want to squish it. You just want to make sure it doesn't come apart. And then just start separating your layers. We've made tissue paper pom-poms, I feel like, since kindergarten. This is the major throwback on this DIY because when I was like, that will work, absolutely 100% will work. Now here's the best part about this, and this is the part that I'm the most excited to share with you. Tissue papers come in all colors. Baby shower, gender reveal. I've actually got this, I got this rainbow one for Pride Month, even though Pride Month ended. You could do school colors. You could do wedding colors for a bridal shower. You could do, really the possibilities are endless. If you had a 50th wedding anniversary, you could pick gold, black tissue paper or gold in the beige tissue paper. You could do silver for a 25th wedding anniversary. Really, the possibilities are endless. So here's where we're going to actually use a dowel, and we're going to use a couple of pieces of a skewer as well, because between the folds of this tissue paper, we're going to stick pieces of dowel down there, or a skewer down there, and glue it to the dowel, just to help, sort of like those Chinese umbrellas. That's what it reminds me of the most. But we're just going to use 3 little pieces of broken skewer. We're going to stick it between, triangularly between the layers of the folds of the tissue paper, and we're going to glue them to the stick. And you're not going to see all those little pieces of skewer because the bottom layer of tissue paper is going to come down over it. Okay? And now we ran out of styrofoam, so I'm shoving just craft paper down there. Actually, we'd have a tiny bit of styrofoam, but my thought was to cram some craft paper down there and then take a piece of foam board and cut the circle the same size. But I did find a small piece of styrofoam left over. I shoved that down in there just to give something for the skewer to stab into, and I covered it with some red tissue paper, just one of those squares of red tissue paper. Glued the stick down right in the middle, and then just fluffed it up, tried to make it as even and festive and beautiful as possible. I love this one. I collected rainbows as a child, and that was like my big collectible, and this just makes me so happy. And here's how that one looks. I'm telling you, it'd also be great for St. Patrick's Day. Rainbows always come out on St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, I just absolutely really do love it. So that's everything, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed these tutorials. If you do, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. I am sorry about the speed, but trying to fit 4 DIYs in here is really a lot. So if you haven't yet, click subscribe. When you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And don't forget to pop over to the vlog channel and see what's going on over there, okay? And listen, I really do appreciate everything you guys have done for us. This family has grown, and it's made my heart so happy. And as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!